Thank you everyone for joining us again today for another edition of the West Chamber Pop-Up. This is Christy Villanueva, President of the West San Antonio Chamber, and I am here with Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So the reason I wanted you to join us is because there's a lot of different questions and messages that we're hearing out there in the community. We feel like you're doing a fantastic job to kind of curb the COVID and everything going on. What recommendations do you have for those business owners to make sure that they're securing the premises?
Well, we've taken some steps to make sure that our deputies are more available proactively. I can tell you, just anecdotally speaking, crime seems to be down countywide, and I got to think a lot of it is, even the criminals are afraid to go out and get ill with this COVID epidemic that we're going through. But I can tell you, just from a constant security type standpoint, business owners should always try to be vigilant of their properties as many times as you can get by. If you get by there 2-3 times a day, go by there. And then give us a call if there's any issues. You can call the non-emergency number for Bexar County Sheriff's Office is 210-335-6000. For the SAPD, it's 210-207-7273. We've been still doing our Lures and Lies presentations, our human trafficking presentations with Ransom Life. We've still been doing that, and here's the reason why. One of the things that we knew was going to go up was online solicitation of minors by pedophiles online and traffickers online, because we know that kids are home from school. Mom and dad are trying to keep them entertained. They may be online more. They may be more apt to be approached by traffickers online, and so we're still continuing to do those trainings to make sure that people know that they need to protect themselves against this very real threat in our community. We're looking at ways of possibly starting to do some of our active shooter presentations and things of that nature online as well.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, because that's definitely important for our parents. It seems like there's a lot more deputies out on the street. Just in the little bit that I've kind of been out to pick up food.
Yeah, we've been able to reallocate some resources, knowing full well that some deputies were going to come down ill with this illness, and that we didn't want that to put us in a manpower shortage. So what we do is, like for example, the courts have shut down, a lot of the courts. Well, that allowed us to move deputies that were serving as bailiffs out to other parts of the agency. And then, not to mention our score deputies, our community policing deputies, they're remaining vigilant. They're out there proactively. So yeah, you may have seen some more activity from us, but again, we're just trying to stay ahead of the game. On a day-to-day basis, we're asking them to use handkerchiefs, bandanas, things of that nature. I've got one in my pocket, but it's something that we just have them carry. Now, when they are dealing with somebody that they know is infected, we've got PPE kits that we've given out to all our deputies with an N95 mask and some gloves. Additionally, we've got some things. You saw a couple days ago where Toyota was putting out face shields for first responders. This is actually one of those we purchased from Toyota. We've got some lighter duty masks that we gave out to our deputies. These are more of a t-shirt type material. It just goes over your face and goes over your ears. These are not disposable, though they are disposable, but they're washable. So, yes. I mean, this is 3 masks right here, and I stick them in my pocket, and I've got them just in case anything comes up. We've also got things like safety glasses.
If a deputy comes out, there's a call, he comes out either to my business or to my home, what can I expect him, am I going to expect him to be a little more distant, or are there other procedures?
But basically, it's certain calls for service that we'll handle by phone. For example, graffiti where you don't know who it is, you don't know there's no danger. Just, hey, you woke up and your car got spray painted, and there's no danger. There's nothing to do but make a report. We may handle that by telephone. Used to be we'd send a deputy out to that call, but now we're starting to decrease the kind of calls that we're physically dispatching to. Again, in order to stay more proactive. But we have made it clear to our deputies that try not to go into any residences or even businesses without the need to. If you can call the people outside and talk in the front yard with the fresh air, that's probably the better bet. And so, yes, they're going to have more distance. You may actually have a deputy come approach you with PPE on. You may have them ask you to step back a bit, or they may step back a bit. Again, I think a lot of this is just the new normal. I think some of these things are going to stick around in the long term, even after this crisis passes, which it absolutely will.
Are you seeing anything as far as different calls with people maybe being a little more depressed or anxious? I know you said the crime was down, but as they're going out there, are the deputies maybe seeing anything like that?
I can tell you, it stands to reason. We're isolating from each other a lot more. We're behind closed doors a lot more. It just stands to reason that things like depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, knock on wood, that kind of stuff does go up when you see people isolating from each other. So, if you have a family member that may be predisposed to some of those things, check in on them a little bit more often, even if it's just by phone or Zoom or Facebook. Try to stay connected. Do what you can to stay connected with these folks. And certainly, if you are the person that's feeling these feelings, reach out to somebody. Don't try to endure this on your own. Don't think, oh, it's just going to go away. I'm just going to suck it up. It's going to go away. It probably won't go away. You're going to have to do something about it. So reach out and get the help that you need. Mm-hmm. Again, if all else fails, call the non-emergency numbers, 210-335-6000 for the sheriff's office, or 210-207-7273 for the SAPD. We still got two very capable full-service agencies, the sheriff's office and the SAPD. All of our brother and sister agencies are still out being full service. Over 30 law enforcement agencies in the county. Everybody's doing their job. Everybody's doing great. Now, if you so choose to arm yourself to protect your home or your business, that's fine. Just make sure that you're doing it the right way, the smart way, and you're not becoming part of the problem. You got to make sure there's a lot of things to take into consideration when it comes to buying a gun for either home defense, self-defense, or defending your business.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There's also some things to consider as far as if you're carrying concealed, make sure you're carrying it in a holster that's designed for that weapon. You don't just want to stick it in your waistband or stick it in a pocket or stick it in a purse. You've also got to think about things like stress, shooting under stress. The reason we train so much as law enforcement officers on the range is even, let's say, a SWAT operator, a very experienced 100% shooter. It's a known fact that in a stress situation, in an officer-involved shooting, that 100% shooter, just like that, is going to become a 50% shooter because of the stress level going up. You're not going to hit your intended target most of the time. So if you're normally a 50 or 60% shooter in a high-stress situation, you can cut that in half, 25, 30%. Again, when your child is on the other side of that wall, if you really want to be shooting in that direction, knowing that 75% of your bullets aren't going to go where you're intending them to go. So there's things to think about. Additionally, one more thing to consider, as a law enforcement officer, we train extensively on shooting, standing and shooting and hitting your target. But there's also something else to consider that a lot of people don't take into consideration is handgun retention. We train our cadets from day one that this gun in your holster, once you go hands-on with somebody and you start fighting with somebody, that gun doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to whoever gets it out of that holster first. And sometimes if you're not trained on how to hang on to your gun in a ground fight, you may not be the one getting that gun out of the holster. Maybe the bad guy. And so you've got to train for such eventualities and think about, what am I going to do if I get my gun taken away from me? How am I going to ensure that doesn't happen? How am I going to shield that from a bad guy or several bad guys if I'm in a ground fight? Again, not to scare anybody or deter anybody from trying to protect their home or their family, but these are all things you've got to take into consideration when making that purchase.
Absolutely. We definitely have to think this through. Members. We have heard from some other agencies in the community that domestic violence and child abuse cases have been coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We've seen about an 11% increase over the same time last year. It stands to reason. You get people in close quarters like that, you're going to start grating on each other's nerves. You're going to start, the little things that might be cute at first, may become a little more irritating, or may escalate to violence if you're not careful. You know, so it stands to reason that things like that may go up at this time at a time like this. Report it. Get yourself some help if you're the abuser. You know, you need to get yourself out of that situation. If you're the victim, report it. There are resources where you don't have to tolerate that sort of thing. Give us a call.
Absolutely. And I'm sure with all this going on and the reassignments, there's probably some great recruiting opportunities in your department.
Absolutely. Look, people are losing their job in droves right now. Unemployment's at an all-time high. Excuse me, at an all-time high. We are seeing a lot of people come to us. They're looking for a job, and we're hiring like crazy right now. You talk about a recession-proof job. We're not going to be laying people off. We're simply not. You know, we're hiring like crazy. We're processing like crazy. On Monday, I have got 3 different classes starting up. One is a class of temporary jailers. One is a detention class of new cadets, and then one is a law enforcement class of new law enforcement deputies. This tomorrow, we've got a cadet class graduating from the academy. 2 weeks ago, we had an academy class graduate. So we're processing people like crazy. We're more strict than the sheriff's office has been in years past. We're not hiring just anybody. And so what does that mean? We have to cast a wide net to get a good quality of applicant and cadet through the door. But I think we're accomplishing that. And so if you're interested in starting a career with the sheriff's office, give us a call, 210-335-JOBS, 335-JOBS. You can check us out online, bcsocareers.com. That is our recruiting line, and we're always testing. We're always interviewing. We just want people to come on in. You got to be 18 years of age or older, no maximum age, and you have to have a clean record. You've got to be able to pass a background check. There's certain things in years past that we would let slide. So if you had certain kinds of arrests, but it wasn't a conviction, we would still hire you at the sheriff's office. I actually made it a lot more strict, where if you've got certain kinds of arrest on your record, even if it was dismissed, we're not interested in having you. And DWI is one of those. You know, there may be another agency that'll hire you. Not here. We've got too many issues that we need to try to resolve. And we've got way too many good qualified applicants coming through the door that we can afford to be a little bit picky these days.
And I see it as a great opportunity for growth. I mean, we've got a lot of smart people in San Antonio and the surrounding area that could really benefit from being a part of your team.
Sure. If you're a teacher that's out of work, or a healthcare provider that's out of work, we've got folks here. One of my chief that's in charge of the COVID response, Deputy Chief Roland Schuler, is a registered nurse. He's been a registered nurse for 20 years, in addition to being on the department for 30 years. I've got attorneys, the licensed attorneys that are deputies. So there's something in this profession for everybody. Certainly, you think about people that, oh, well, I'm interested in video production. Great, come on, become a deputy, and we'll put you in video production at some point. There's jobs within the job that even if you think that a law enforcement career isn't for you or never would be, think again, come in and check us out, and we think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Any parting words for our members and, our partners in the community as we move through kind of this time?
Just that we're doing our best to fight this illness, just like everybody else is around us, right? To keep it out of our jail, to keep our deputies safe and sound, to keep our civilian employees safe and sound, but certainly first and foremost to keep our public safe and sound. From all of these issues that we talked about, we're here for you as your sheriff's office.
Well, thank you so much, Sheriff Salazar, for your time as always, and we appreciate the work that you do. Thank you for your commitment.
Take care.
We'll see you later. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.